Hello and welcome to a new vlog and trip report. Today we are traveling in France again. We are going from Le Havre to Paris, and here on the map you can see our route today. We're taking a different route than usual. My train was using a diversion on a route that rarely sees passenger trains, so that was quite interesting. I will tell you a bit more about this in the video. But we're starting at my hotel, the Mercure Hotel, Le Havre Gare Centrale, directly opposite of the railway station. It's a very beautiful, nice hotel. I can highly recommend staying there if you are traveling to or from Le Havre by train, because it's not even 3 minutes away from the station. And here we can see my train today, which is an Omnéo Premium, part of the Bombardier Regio 2N family, now part of Alstom. My train was extremely long. In the Normandy, each train has 10 cars and there were 2 trains together, so we have 20 cars, and my seat reservation was in one of the first cars. So I had to walk all the way to the front of the train during a beautiful sunrise early in the morning. And now we can take a look at the fantastic interior of this very nice train. We're traveling in first class today, and here you can see the very good interior. Today my reserved seat was at the upper deck of the double-decker train, and we have very soft and comfortable seats, movable, well-padded armrests. We have a nice big and sturdy table with a tablet holder and an additional phone holder. We have a footrest. We have a lot of power sockets. We have 2 power sockets and USB power sockets. We have reading lights, sun blinds, and a quite good seat pitch. Of course, the seat is also adjustable, so as you can see, it is a very comfortable interior and one of the nicest trains I have been on in a long time. And now we can listen to the departure in Le Havre. We're now on the railway line Paris-Le Havre, which is the railway line we were supposed to follow all the way until Paris, with a stop, for example, in Rouen. Here we've just left Bréauté-Beuzeville, where the railway line to Fécamp is branching off, that we have seen in the last video. But we are continuing on this line on the Mireville Viaduct, where we can also see the railway line to Notre-Dame-de-Gravenchon, and then we are continuing on to Motteville. From there the train should actually go to Rouen and then on to Paris without a stop in between. But the stop in Rouen was cancelled due to constructions on the railway line, and we are taking a diversion with very interesting railway lines. Here we have the station of Yvetot, and you can see that a lot of passengers are using this train, which is offering a quick connection to Paris. Here we are approaching Motteville with a connection to Saint-Valery-en-Caux, which is not used for passenger trains anymore. And here we are shortly stopping, waiting for the oncoming train, and I think a pilot came on board. He's now guiding our train driver on the railway line called Ligne de Montérolier Buchy à Motteville, which is a railway line that hasn't seen passenger traffic since 1938. Here we're crossing the railway line to Dieppe, which is still in use, but this railway line hasn't seen regular passenger services since 1938, as far as I could find out. Since then, the railway line has only been used as a diversion for trains between Paris and Le Havre. So it's very rare that there are passenger trains on this route, so I was quite happy that I got the chance to travel on this line. Of course, I've also not seen the other railway line between Le Havre and Paris, but that's quite easy to travel on that line, so I was very happy that I got a chance to travel on this very interesting line. We've now reached the end of that line. We reached the station of Montérolier-Buchy, Here the pilot left our train and will now guide the next train back to Motteville, and we are now on a railway line that sees regular passenger trains between Rouen and Lille. But we are just for a couple of minutes on that line. Near Cerqueux we are leaving the railway line Ligne de Saint-Roch-Ardennes-Étal bifurcation again to continue on the Ligne de Saint-Denis à Dieppe, which is another interesting railway line because at the moment there are no passenger trains on this line as well at the part that we are on right now. Already several times it was reopened and closed again. Last time it was reopened in 2021 and closed again in 2024. As there were not enough passengers using that line. So at the moment it is not possible to travel with a passenger train on this line, but I was lucky again to travel on that line as it was used as a diversion. I was traveling quite early in the morning, it was extremely cold outside, that's why the landscape is still frozen. We're now going through a station called Gournay-Ferrières, and as you can see the station looks very modern. This line has only been closed not even 2 years ago, so that's why they have a very nice and modern station, but unfortunately not enough passengers have used it and the trains were replaced by buses. In my case I love to travel by train, and if there's a train I'm using it, but if I would have to take a bus I would not do it. I would either visit a different place, or if I live there I would use my car. So in my opinion, it's always bad to replace a train with a bus. We're now approaching Gisors, and from here there are regular trains again. Those are regional trains going to Paris, and they are stopping at all stations in between. So all the cities we are now going through, of course in our case without stopping, can be reached by train again. You will also see that there are more and more cities, more stations as we are getting closer to Paris. Therefore, of course, there are more cities, still rather small cities and villages, but there are more and more villages. And now, before reaching Paris itself, we can listen to the sound of our train once again. We're now reaching Pontoise, which marks the beginning of actually approaching Paris. From now on we will be mainly in cities. Those are the cities in front of Paris, but they have grown together with Paris. Here we are crossing the river Oise, and shortly after the river we're turning to the right, we're heading to Conflans-Sainte-Honorine, which maybe you remember was one of the destinations we've visited with the Monarch Countess and Reisejung if you have seen my river cruise videos on the river Seine. We're now also getting quite close to the river Seine, but we cannot see it at the moment, even though we have been following the river basically on the whole length of the journey today, as this river of course runs through Paris and it ends with its mouth into the North Sea in Le Havre. If we would have used the regular railway line, we would have been following the valley of the Seine, but now we have used a different route, but further away from the river. But soon we will cross the river Seine for the first time, and we can finally see her. We will cross her 2 times on our way to the station of Paris Saint-Lazare, which is the end of this train. Here we are going through the station of Argenteuil, and then we are crossing the river Seine for the first time. As always, I'm German, I'm not French, so I'm apologizing if I'm pronouncing any cities and the villages wrong. The French pronunciation, of course, is not too easy. Find some information about the correct pronunciation online, so I'm apologizing for any mistakes. Here we are crossing the Seine for the second time, and that means that we are now just a few minutes away from reaching the endpoint of the line at Paris Saint-Lazare. Even though we had quite a delay in between, we reached our destination on time, as usually there is a lot of extra time in the schedules when trains are using a different route. Also in this case, we catched up with our delay and arrived on time here at Paris-Saint-Lazare. And here I'm now leaving this very, very nice train. It was a very comfortable ride, one of the nicest trains I have been on in the last years. Here we can see the fantastic interior once again, so it is a very, very comfortable train. From Paris-Saint-Lazare I now have to go to the RER station Saint-Lazare, and from there I can take the RER line E to go to a station called Magenta, and from there it's just a short walk to the station of Paris Gare de l'Est, where I will continue in the next video. Here we can see the station, and here the next video will start. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Here you can see when the next video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video then.